With a call to action for change in engineering education through the publication of the Engineer of 2020, new ABET accreditation pressures, and industry requests, it is unsurprising that decisions about engineering pedagogies are being considered more by engineering faculty. Many of these changes have proven to increase student retention, increase student persistence, and even increase student achievement. With engineering education's new focus, a review of the classroom methods used in engineering schools is not only important but timely. This video will explore the present and historical teaching methods in engineering education. Let us begin with an exploration of some of the pedagogies of the past and the present. Many engineering students and faculty are intimately familiar with the lecture hall, and that makes it an interesting place to begin our discussion. From 1935 to 1965, engineering shifted from hands-on, practice-based curricula to curricula that emphasized mathematical modeling and theory-based approaches. This required a supporting change in pedagogical approaches. In passive teaching styles like lectures, students are assumed to enter the course with minds like an empty vessel, ready to be filled with knowledge. Early engineering programs focused their pedagogies on the curricula of the time. In the early 1820s, the need for formally trained engineers began to emerge. Most instruction in these early engineering departments and technical schools placed great emphasis upon practicality and active approaches to teaching and instruction. Such instruction was marked by liberal amounts of shop work, exercises in the drafting room, and practice in the field, with only occasional lectures or demonstrations by science instructors. These active pedagogies were introduced under strong pressure from practicing engineers. They found graduates of more classroom-based colleges ill-equipped to handle the routine problems of industry. These practicing engineers put considerable pressure upon the schools to define their curricula and methods to meet the demands of the real world. By the close of the century, their impact was reflected in changes by schools, providing shop training for early generations of formally trained engineers, alongside courses of scientific principles. The efforts of engineering educators to meet the demands of their profession, academic status, and employers of engineers have been an ongoing theme during engineering education history. Indeed, finding an effective teaching approach to support industry shifts has remained a focus and concern throughout engineering's history. By the end of the 19th century, schools lagged considerably behind the rapidly changing needs of the science-based industries. Even in larger institutions like Yale, Michigan, Wisconsin, MIT, and Purdue, where adequate shop facilities were available for training in real-world techniques, the equipment quickly became obsolete with advances in industry. In the modern classroom, many new approaches have attempted to bridge the gap between active and passive pedagogies in support of an approach to engineering education that reassesses the balance between student learning in theory and in practice. Modern design-based learning began to gain traction in engineering schools in the 1980s, and since then, such activities have continued to grow in focus. This method is grounded in classical approaches to education that create student-centered and effective ways of growing students' knowledge and capabilities. Design learning has proven to be effective in teaching skills valued by employers, including team-based work, understanding of customer needs, and concept generation. Design is about problem solving. Design education is learning how to apply practical methods, prior knowledge, and theoretical information to solve new problems. ABET criteria acknowledge design skills as a foundational engineering ability, and design-based teaching methods have many ties to Dewey's goals of linking experience with reflection and linking understanding with doing. Design learning in the modern iteration is not an entirely new concept. It shares many ties with earlier approaches to engineering education that have tied together the practical and the theoretical in a hands-on way.